Okay, thanks for jumping on. Kind of like I said last night in the post-game press conference, proud of our guys. They played their butts off, played with unbelievable effort. We were ready to play. The poise that our guys showed throughout the game, I was really proud of. Playing a lot of freshmen, they belonged, and we belonged on that field, and that gives us great confidence going forward as well. And like I told the team today, I mean, they prepared the right way during the week and expected to win that football game going into it, and it showed. Really, really proud of them from that standpoint. But having said that, disappointed with the second half. Wasn't a case of us going into the locker room and feeling great and that the game was over by any stretch of the imagination. Georgia came out in the second half and showed why they're a team that's won 2 straight national championships and played well and were very disruptive, and they made the plays in the second half, and we didn't, and there were opportunities to make them, and a lot of things where we just didn't make them earn it at times, like we talked about last night, and they earned it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, but some things, details we got to be better at in all 3 phases. Just some bad coaching and not enough detail in the second half, which is disappointing. Looking at the tape, we had a lot of guys, as you can imagine, that did play well. Offensively, again, Spencer Rattler and Xavier Leggett, without a doubt. And then on the offensive line, Nick Gargiulo, thought he played really well, played with a toughness and a nastiness, and did a nice job straining and playing with great effort. And then Tree at left tackle, we felt like played really well. A lot to improve and correct, don't get me wrong, but for a true freshman to go into that game and be isolated by himself, we weren't like double teaming people with him. He was on his own a lot most of the night, and did a really good job. Proud of Tree coming in there as a true freshman. That's not easy to do. Defensively, TJ Sanders was unbelievable last night. He was awesome and was really disruptive, played hard. Devo Williams also had a nice game at linebacker, played every play of the game at linebacker for us. And then in the secondary, O'Donnell Fortune, Nick Eman Worry, and DQ Smith were steady and gave us a chance defensively in the passing game and doing some good things in the run game also. Special teams, again, Xavier Leggett continues to be a weapon out there at gunner for us, and then Peyton Mangrum and Mitch Jeter. So those are guys that played well for us. Looking back at it, just penalties again, a lot of pre-snap penalties and not playing smart football in the second half. We get a holding penalty on a basically a 2-man twist game that Georgia runs on the right side of our offensive line, and we get a holding penalty, and it negates an explosive pass. It's going to be 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line going in to score with like 4.5 minutes left in the game. And, lots of plays like that just makes you sick today, and I'm certainly sick looking back at that tape. Injury-wise, came out of it pretty good. Nothing major from last night. Told you guys, no update on Juice. We'll know more on Tuesday. Expect to get Amarian Brown back. Expect to get JT Gear back. Marquis Anderson, he will be done for the season. Expect him to have surgery this week. Hate it for him. He's a tough kid. Could really help us on the offensive line right now. He's going to be a big-time player here at South Carolina, and we felt like the best thing for now would be just to shut him down and have surgery and get ready for spring practice. Questions?
Hey, Shane, it's Dave. If you could just kind of talk me through the process of deciding on Tree to start at left tackle. Obviously, the guy's talented, but, being a freshman, was there any concerns on the coach's part about being a freshman, about having some trepidation about putting him out there so soon?
Yeah, certainly. Anytime you play a true freshman and start them, there's concerns, especially on a road against a team like Georgia in an environment like that, national television, 94,000 or whatever it is, fans. That's tough, but Tree's a really good player, and he had shown it in practice. And really for us, David, it was just trying to get a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, girth, whatever you want to call it, out there on the edge, just to be able to firm up the pocket a little bit. We were getting, our tackles in the first couple games, we were getting too much, push into the pocket, and And Tree's a big man that really did a nice job. I mean, you watch some of his pass pro reps early in the game. I mean, he's widening the pocket, and there's some technique things certainly to clean up. But we keep talking about getting these young guys better, and the only way to do that is to get them in there and let them play.
Same, Colin, kind of sticking with Tree a little bit outside of just the size and the body type. What about his mental skill set, his physical skill set really helps him in
his size, like you said, he's athletic. He's just got a great demeanor. I mean, he played, really good level of football up in D.C. at DeMatha, and then just his personality. I mean, he's a guy, just always has a smile on his face and was having fun out there yesterday. You watch some of his effort downfield and watch the play. We threw the ball to Trey Knox over on our sideline, and the pile Trey's, competing for extra yardage, and you see Tree running over there to try and get a block and finish the play. So I think just the effort he plays with and the mentality he has and just the pure joy he has when he's out there on the field.
Hey, Shane, it's Ben Briner. I wanted to kind of a little on that theme with Trey. How did you come away grading the performance on the perimeter, both in terms of the blocking and guys just getting the ball, kind of going, beating guys one-on-one, making plays?
Not good enough. Certainly part of our run game in my mind right now is being able to kick the ball out there on the perimeter. And we had a lot of called runs yesterday, Ben, that were RPOs that Spencer made the right decision and threw the ball out there on the perimeter. Mm-hmm. And if it's the right decision to get the ball out there on the perimeter, we've got to be able to block on the perimeter. I mean, we worked the heck out of it here in practice, and we got beat sometimes yesterday with just technique errors against, and they're good at it, don't get me wrong, Georgia is, and got good players who are out there blocking, and then we've got to be able to, make people miss more. That was the key of, going into the game. We had to tackle well, and we had to break tackles, and we have to be better, and we'll continue to work at it and make sure, we got the right guys in the right places as well on those perimeter plays.
Hey, Shane, it's Hale. I was just curious about the defense. Just overall, where do you feel like you guys are after 3 games, and what are some of the areas that you feel particularly good about, and that maybe other areas that you want to get cleaned up and improve on?
I think we've been okay. They've given us opportunities. They forced a couple turnovers against North Carolina that gave us an opportunity, and then yesterday we consider 4-minute offense when the other team is winning and they're essentially trying to run out the clock and finish the game, and we feel like we were in 2 4-minute offense situations yesterday where Georgia's trying to eat up clock and end the game, and we got stops. We stopped them one time in the red zone, made them kick a field goal, I believe, and then the last time we forced them to punt. So they gave us an opportunity in the fourth quarter, and that's a talented offense with really, really, really good players that we just held to 24 points or whatever it ended up being yesterday. So they're continuing to get better. Just looking at it, is our biggest concern is just the depth. Boogie and Tonka and TJ played the majority of snaps yesterday at defensive tackle, and we played a little bit more of just odd front defense where we had TJ in the game with Boogie and Tonka at times. So, we got to be careful about that. We need our young defensive tackle, not young, we need our other defensive tackles, and we need these edge players to come along. We've got to be able to get more production out of the edge position right now. And then just the depth at corner and the depth at safety and the depth at linebacker, honestly, is just my concern. Just these guys got to we can't ask Debo Williams to play every play, and we need to get Pup Howard in the game more. We need to get Bam in the game more. It's up to them to, show that in practice so we feel comfortable throwing them out there. And then same thing on defense as well. O'Donnell was cramping a little bit yesterday. Judge Collier went in the game, and Judge has to continue to come along. And we moved DQ Smith to nickel yesterday for that game, which meant that Nicky Manwari and Jalen Kilgore basically played the whole game at safety. Spalding was able to play, proud of him being able to come in, but just we're thin back there, and those guys are playing a lot of plays, and we've got 9 regular season games left, so we've got to continue to bring these guys along where we can get other guys in the game and feel comfortable doing it.
Hey, Shane,
feel like you guys need to do in the run game to be a little bit more consistent? And then what's kind of the plan with Mario moving forward?
We're all competing in practice. So Mario, DK, Juju, DJ Braswell, all these guys, they're competing in practice, and we played Mario a little bit more yesterday. Like I just said to Ben, a lot of our called runs yesterday were plays that were RPO, which means it's a run-pass option, which means that we have a run called, but if they give us a look, we kick the ball out on the perimeter. The first play of the game was an RPO to Luke. So from a run game standpoint, we've got to, when we get opportunities to hand the ball off, we've got to, lock people up and make them miss, and we will continue to. We got good backs, and like I said, Mario's competing like all of our running backs as well. We're trying to get the best people in there week in, week out.
Hey, Shane, it's John. It doesn't seem like the tight ends have been quite as impactful through the first 3 games as maybe expected. How do you think Trey and Josh have played so far?
I think they've been okay. I mean, you may look at stats and say, well, they haven't made a lot of catches, but I don't know if I agree with that statement. I mean, Trey Knox had a big catch against North Carolina down there in the red zone. We threw him a ball yesterday that he caught, down there that almost led to a touch, or that he almost scored on. We threw him a ball on third down that, we weren't able to make the catch on. So, we're targeting those guys. I think, for them, it's in the run game and in pass protection, continuing to do a good job and hold up. But I've been pleased with them. They certainly need to be better. There's no question about it. But I feel like we're utilizing them in a lot of different ways, and we felt, John, going into the game yesterday that Trey and Josh had a chance for big games. Spencer can't throw the ball to Xavier Leggett every single time, or Juice Wells every single time, and those tight ends are going to continue to play a role for us as we go forward.
Hey, Shane
and Dave again. I was wondering. Go ahead, Hill.
I was just going to ask a follow up on Marquis. Can you share what he's going to have worked on?
Yeah, it's his knee. I'm sorry, nothing like long-term ACL or anything like that. It's just it's been something that's been nagging him all along since August. He's really been trying to play through it. The kid's tough as heck. Has been trying to fight through it because he wants to be out there so bad, and it's just one of those things where he doesn't feel like he can be at 100%, and we've at this point have tried really every different type of scenario, or not scenario, but every different type of treatment and brace and rehab and things like that, and it's just not, healing like it needs to heal.
Shane, Dave again. I was wondering if there was an update on Kaysen Henry and also Tyreek Johnson.
Kaysen, no. I mean, he'll be out this week for sure. And Tyreek, we expect to get back. We're about to head to the practice field here in about 90 seconds, so he'll be able to get out there and do a little bit tonight, and hopefully he'll be able to play this week.
Hey, Shane, Ben,
go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say, I wanted to ask, right when Georgia was in that 1-minute situation, there were a couple of plays, Debo kind of gets out on the sideline and seems like he was fighting to try to keep his guy in bounds. Is that something you guys are coaching as a point, or is that just a veteran ball player, knowing the situation?
No, we're always talking about situational football, and you talking about at the end of the game or end of the half when they were trying to score?
And into the first half, I think he had Bowers and one receiver kind of fought.
Yeah, they're in a 2-minute mode, so certainly that's good situational awareness. We try and talk about stuff like that all the time, but any time we're in a situation like that where we know they're trying to get out of bounds, we're trying to keep them in bounds, and then we also have calls within our defensive package that alerts the guys to protect the sideline, and we do not want to let these guys get out of bounds if we can help it also. So a lot of it is the call, and a lot of it is, Debo situational awareness too.
Shane, it's Alan. You mentioned Nick, DQ, and Jalen playing together for the first time yesterday. What were your thoughts on how those three work together, especially communication-wise with 3 underclassmen in the secondary?
Pretty good. They did a good job. You know, a couple things that we were misaligned on, and you know, early in the first half, we had a couple pressures that we didn't get communicated the right way. That, you know, Georgia had a guy running right down the sideline wide open on a pressure that we busted. That was secondary communication, but you know, we'll get that cleaned up. And overall, I thought they were good. You know, those are smart guys, and in the secondary, and Georgia was, you know, giving some unbalanced formations and some motions and shifts and things like that. It takes a lot of communication, and thought those guys did a really good job of communicating back there on the back end.